I'm filling out one of the first pictures on the Argos game.
Oh, nice.
My company's going.
Don't embarrass yourself now. Practice.
I need some practice.
My son's going out July 1st.
I just found out yesterday.
Throw lefty.
You are live, Mike.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Finance for the town of Summers, June 24th, 2025. We have Paul Hart, Bruce Devlin, Joe Tolosano, Kathy Devlin, and Mike Parker present, along with our Chief Financial Officer, Brian Wissinger, and Mike Marinasio. Before we begin tonight, I'd just like to have a moment of silence, if I could ask for it, for Ed Sullivan, who was our last elected town treasurer. He served for 10 years in that capacity. He was also involved with the Republican Town Committee as chairman and served the town in that regard. He was a fine member of Rotary, and unlike his namesake, he was just a little more drawl in the TV version of Ed Sullivan. But he was a good friend, well liked, and we'll miss him. Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to call on Dr. Galloway, Board of Education update.
Good evening. Let's have two quick items. The first, we are tracking to return about $100,000 to the town. So that's a pretty good number. Brian, I believe you've been communicating with staff. We spoke this week, so that we're definitely tracking in that direction. And the second update is the Board of Selectmen did reconstitute the SES HVAC Building Committee. Then there are 7 members. Brian, Mike, Joe. The next meeting is Monday afternoon, I believe, at 5. 4. 4? I'm glad I said 5 out loud. Well, that's all I have for this evening.
Anything else for Sam? I know that there's been a significant personnel issue in the school department, and I think that on behalf of the Board of Finance, I would ask you to consider an executive session so that we can understand what the potential fiscal aspects of it are. I have no desire to interfere with your management. I have no desire to interfere with your judgment. We'd just like to know what the potential fiscal financial risks are where we face potential litigation. So maybe you need to consult with your attorney or whatever, but I think an executive session would do the trick, and it might only last 5 minutes. Okay.
I'd like to be involved with it myself, if possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other thoughts? Thanks very much.
Sure.
Thanks, Tim.
The one overhead's working.
Okay. Just to follow up on Sam's comments, on the 16th of June, I asked for the first meeting of the HVAC Building School Committee. Those on the committee at that meeting elected Bill Meyer as chairman, Joe Tolosano as vice chairman, Brian Wissinger as secretary, Ann Kirkpatrick, Paul Bahanowitz, who's the representative of the building community, Mike Marinaccio, Pat Rowland, and Sam Galloway as a non-voting liaison with the school board. We did not reappoint Jim McPhee because we are limited to 7 people. I wanted to make room for Mr. Tolosano, so he was the person that was not selected to be on. But I'm bringing that up. I'd like to transition to last night's meeting of the Board of Education, which I attended along with Paul Hart. And there are probably another 100 people, residents of the town, attended. Probably 35 or 40 who spoke. The meeting was open to public comment at the end of the meeting, which lasted for about an hour. First of all, I think one of the contributing factors to the dismissal of Jim McPhee was the fact that about 2.5 years ago, both myself and Bob Schmidt asked Jim for a tour of the elementary school, because at that time there was consideration of the HVAC system. We wanted to see what the situation was with the school, what it looked like, what the problems were, any concerns that he might have. We asked him to be truthful, and indeed he was. And one of the things we discussed was the possibility that, maybe if we didn't put an HVAC system into a 70-plus-year-old school, we might invest money in a new school. And there were some options that are out on the table that need to be investigated. I've already looked at Jack Curtenis on his property, probably about 40 or 50 acres behind the house his father built in 1953. And Nguyen Tractor Trailer owns another 50 acres just to the left of that. If they swapped the land, there would be plenty of land just adjacent to the middle school. It may be every middle school, or a new school could be built if the decision was made to build a new school. Just so, and also there are other options available. But I think because of that meeting we had, Jim McPhee got into hot water for talking to us, daring to talk to us without getting authorization from his seniors, and this is what I think started the recriminations against Jim McPhee. And I think it's very unfortunate at last night's meeting there was a universal demonstration of love and respect for Jim. There were several members of his family there. He has 7 children and 21 grandchildren. I think most of whom live in town. And because his children have married, he's related to probably half the people in town. I think he was, there was talk about his dedication to his job, the fact that he worked there for over 30 years, the fact that he was the go-to person, the lifeline for the school system. There was just great surprise by everyone in the audience that he's being let go. And I think there was concern for how this decision was made. I think that involved certainly the chairwoman of the Board of Ed, Ann Kirkpatrick. The Board of Ed itself knew nothing about this, by the way. We're not informed. Totally surprised. I think there needs to be, number one, this was brought up last night by many people, reconsideration of the decision, whether or not there ought to be some kind of transition plan considered for him after 31 years of excellent service, probably the most outstanding person in the school system as far as tenure and knowledge of the school system, and also the possibility of some kind of recognition event for Jim's service. I mean, I think it's owed to him. It's disrespectful to do anything other than that. And I just want to go on the record of stating that I attended last night's meeting and spoke. Many other people spoke. It was an excellent meeting, probably the strongest meeting I've ever witnessed here in town in my 70-plus years of public comment. So it was impressive. If you haven't seen it, listen to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Your comments just reinforce the notion that I've asked Sam to make sure that we get an executive session, at least so we can understand the financial implications. Of course, Tim will be invited to attend.
Great. I think it really goes beyond financial implications, but I think you probably say that's your limited scope. I think one of the big issues here is the the absence of the chairwoman of the Board of Education and her involvement in this. And I'm just saying that, her acting of this in concert with Sam, without any knowledge of the rest of the board, is phenomenal. And I'm sure she would say, hey, the board's responsibility is the curriculum at school and overseeing the board superintendent and hiring and firing the superintendent. But I think it goes beyond that. So,
But your comments only reinforce the notion that whether to be litigation, whether not to be some kind of remediation action on the town's part, that we might be subject to a significant judgment. And I think that's worth at least our understanding those financial implications. I know that you brought up other things.
that'll be tough for Dr. Galloway to estimate, I think.
I'm sorry?
That'll be tough for Dr. Galloway to
I
estimate
know, but counsel,
in regards to potential litigation and results thereof.
counsel should be able to do that. If you're dealing with an elderly person, number one, setting aside the service to the town, the past
Merits.
merits and that sort of thing, but you're dealing with an elderly person who's got a wife who's dying of cancer.
Lung cancer.
Huh?
Lung cancer.
There are all kinds of emotional attributes to it as well. So,
And financial for himself.
yeah.
So if I may, if we have such concern, have you thought of temporarily putting him in DPW as an assistant director or something while you guys figure out what's going on here?
We have not considered that, but thank you for the suggestion.
I mean, maybe he only needs 2 years left and, he's got all these years of
Yeah.
dedicated service.
The problem I see is there are a lot of other problems. I mean, that could solve the immediate problem, but there are a lot of other issues that are related to this that need to be addressed.
Well,
I think someone needs to be held accountable
Yeah.
and needs to explain why this decision was made.
That's kind of outside of my purview. I'm just saying from a financial standpoint, it might be beneficial to give them a soft landing while someone whose authority it is to investigate those issues you articulated.
Understand?
That's just my opinion.
I think I concur with Joe's notion if that's possible. That would alleviate a lot of potential trouble from litigation. Financial standpoint. Anything further for Tim?
No.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Brian?
Just a couple of quick things. You guys should all receive in your email by the end of the week the draft of the resolution for the next bonding initiative for roads. And then that way you have the entire month of July to review it, and then it'll be on the agenda for the July agenda. Tax bills should be in your mailboxes by the end of the week. Everything was proofed and reviewed today, and so tax bills should be out very soon. And then the last thing I have is to acknowledge that this is Mike's last Board of Finance meeting as an employee of the town, and and he showed up for it. I can't say that I would have done that.
Somehow I had the feeling we'll see more of it.
Oh, I'm sure we will too. I'm sure he'd be sitting back there in one of those chairs, just looking at us, making sure that I'm still on my P's and Q's. But thanks for all of the years of service and mentorship. It has definitely meant a lot to me.
And his party.
And then his party on Thursday.
Seat or not?
5 o'clock.
Do you have an estimate return to fund balance from this?
Total, including what's coming from the Board of Ed, it looks like it's going to be somewhere in the 3 to 350 range.
Bless you.
The majority of that being really just unused appropriated fund balance. Revenues are basically right on the nose for the year. Expenses have been about 100,000 under, and we had appropriated between the 420 that we had appropriated and then the mid-year adjustment to hire the building official, the majority of the return is just unused fund balance.
Has there been any change in your estimate of funding from the state?
We hit the money right on the nose. Every one of the grants came in exactly where we thought they were going to. The only one that was different was the road maintenance grant, and that goes right into the road maintenance fund, so it doesn't affect the general fund or the reserves there. But they did, they switched, instead of it being a general fund, a state general fund grant, they are now putting it towards, as part of the bond fund. So they increased appropriations to a lot of towns. Ours went from 260, it was 266 before, I think it's like 318 now. It's about $50,000 more towards roads.
And special ed?
Special ed, as far as I know, I don't really see the revenue side, but as far as I know, it was pretty on point from where Stephanie thought it was going to be. I know there were no cuts to it, but I don't know if there was any increases to it. No.
Any questions for Brian?
Nope.
Any questions for Mike, since this is the
No.
last shot?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Did you get to know my address?
Good organized list, right? Anybody have?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 27th.
Second.
Any discussion, comments on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion is adjourned.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. All right. Thank you. Members of the community.